Great day, attractive thinker. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your Break the Cycle specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Welcome my co-host, Tichet Bradshaw, the visual encourager.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. It is such a great day to be alive.
Yes, it is. It is a fantastic and amazing day to be alive. It is not another day. It is a new day because attractive thinkers have that perspective. And I want to encourage you today. You're in for a treat. Something is about to shift. Something is about to become more clear to you. You're going to get an answer and a solution, and you're going to find some treasure, some wealth, some riches today just by tuning into this episode. So get ready. And I know I don't have to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. You should have your Attractive Thinker notebook handy and your pen to take notes because we're going to be dropping these gems along the way, and they're going to enrich your life. You're going to need these gems for your journey. Again, Dr. Toni Hatton, and you can find me at theattractivethinker.guru. You know where to find Tichet Bradshaw at visualencouragement.com. www.visualencouragement.com. I want you to connect with us because it's in the connection. We're going to talk about that today, what we mean by connection, but it's in the connection where you get the real results. Just like your cell phone, if your phone needs to be charged and you don't have an outlet, a way to connect, that battery is getting weaker and weaker, and the battery could just go out. Your charge could go out, and it's just the same with you, attractive thinker. When you're not connected, the internal battle intensifies, and you don't have your supports with you. You don't have your backups with you. You don't have your people, your tribe, the attractive thinker community with you to support you in that internal battle. So you have to stay connected because you can make more progress when you're connected. Have you ever experienced, do you have a friend or someone in your life you say, it's crucial for us to connect and talk because I could be battling with something. Every time I hear your voice on the phone, it makes things better. My clarity comes back. The weight lifts. That's because you made a connection. There are some things that we can accomplish on our own, and then there are other things that we cannot accomplish until we connect. I want you to click the subscribe button to our YouTube channel so that you are notified every single time we go live or a video is uploaded or another message is available for you as a mental tool and a resource to support you along your journey. I want you to click the like button. I want you to click share. Share these messages with your circle of influence because just like you're being fed and fortified and built up and enriched and encouraged and inspired, you can do that for someone else just by sharing this message. So subscribe, like, and share, and get ready because today we're talking about if your heart isn't in it. I want you to write that down in your Attractive Thinker notebook. If your heart isn't in it. We're going to show you today how important, we're going to show you the value of your heart. When you walk away from this message, you're going to understand how incredible what you have, what you already have is. How incredible your heart is, why it has value, why you're supposed to guard it, what it does, how important your heart is to you and to others. So Tichet, tell our audience, what is the heart? When we talk about if your heart isn't in it, we're not talking about the heart that's pumping blood. Talk to our audience and let them know, what type of heart are you talking about?
The heart is where your spirit is. The heart is where life is. The heart is where your true self is. This is what is beating when we're doing things. This, you can tell when you connect to something and your heart is in it because your heart, you can feel your heartbeat. This is where you say you have life. This is where our life is. So we have to guard our heart because out of it is the issues of life. And that means that when your heart connects to something, your spirit connects with that. Your spirit is in there. The essence of you is in your heart. you know. So a lot of times when we're talking about whether or not your heart is in something, we're also saying, is your spirit connected to it? Does your spirit align with that you're doing? Do you feel happy, or do you feel full? Do you feel excitement? Do you feel enlightened? Do you feel alive? Or if your heart is not in it, then you'll feel discord. You'll feel sorrow, regret. You know, you'll feel basically low vibrational feelings. You'll feel distracted if your heart is in it. So think about this. When you are watching something, a television show, this show, whatever you like, right? When you're watching something and it becomes dear to your heart, it resonates with you. It gives you more of a push in order for you to feel more alive. You tend to walk away from it pumped up. We say this got me pumped up. It got me on fire. It got me alive. When you're watching something that's dear to your heart, it changes you. It helps you process the way you receive life, the way you experience life. When you are watching something, or when you are around people who are dear to your heart, you want to protect them. You want to make sure that everybody has what they need. You want to make sure they're fed. You want to make sure that they don't go without, they don't go with the lack, that their needs are supplied. You want to make, it's precious to you. So the heart is precious. Without the heart, we don't have life. I was looking at something over the weekend where they were saying, what will happen if we took man out of the world? And they started to show what happens if man ever left Earth. And they show how all the oxygen and stuff will start to become depleted, how a lot of the energy will start to leave. You start seeing the buildings deteriorate. You start seeing the animals having to fend for themselves until they are gone too. You start seeing a lot of things that's going on. The heart of man is life. So when you remove that life, there are so many things that's connected to it that we're not paying attention to. When you remove the spirit out of something, and remember, we were created in his image and his likeness. Remember, he is spirit, God is spirit and in truth. So when you remove us in his image, the spirit and the truth of something, life cannot stand without the heart. So when you see somebody on life support, they're helping there's a machine that's helping them keep their heartbeat. And so when you remove the spirit out of something, you remove the connectivity, you remove the electricity, you remove the heart of it. So for instance, have you ever seen somebody move out of a home and their spirit left their home or that building, and you can see the shift and change in something? You can see how the energy doesn't even flow the way that it's supposed to. It's not on fire as it used to be. You know, that's because the spirit of that person was the heart of it. You say, a lot of women might say, we are the matriarch of the family. But then if something happens to the matriarch of the family, you feel like that whole family falls apart, because the heart of that matriarch is what was keeping everybody connected and strong. The heart of that family was what was helping the connectivity of the spirit. So when something happens to the heart, it happens to the whole. So when we say, if your heart isn't in it, we want you to assess whether you are doing something halfway and getting in the way, or whether you are doing it whole, out of your whole being, out of the spirit, in great power. Without the heart, do we really have power? Is there power to do anything? When your heart is broken, do you feel that power? If your heart is whole, do you feel enlightenment? Do you feel encouraged? You know, we give out these episodes out of our heart. We're doing this with all of our heart. And so with it, There's a spirit that comes and flows through us, that comes and give you a message that resonates, but it doesn't just give you the message, it gives us a message too. It feeds you and it feeds us. So when you're doing things with your heart in it, it goes both ways. It's blessed giving and blessed receiving. So that's what I believe the heart is. It is the life source. It is that place where our spirit is. It is our connectivity. It's our electricity. It's the reason why we are. That's what I believe the heart is, Dr. Toni.
You know, Tichet, I'm taking notes while you're talking because so many things are resonating with me. And I hope, attractive thinkers, that you're capturing these gems along the way, just like I am. You know, when you talk about the heart, it was so many things you said, Tichet. The heart is where your spirit is. I want you to think about that. Think, because see, we value our spirit, you know. We don't want everything in our spirit, you know. Sometimes when we're watching movies or we're listening to the radio, I mean, I know I've done it several times. My kids would put something on the radio. I say, I don't want that in my spirit. Have you ever said that, attractive thinker? Or somebody recommend a movie and you say, no, I don't want that in my spirit. See, think about that. When like Tisha said, simultaneously at the same time, when we say heart, when we're referencing heart, if your heart isn't in it, we're also saying if your spirit isn't in it. So if you can't understand what we're talking about when we say heart, I want you to think about your spirit. Because would you allow and would you open your spirit to certain things? You know, when we say spirit, we say no, 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 or we say yes, you know. Or think about this for a moment. When you go to church, you know, the spirit is high and your spirit is affected, or you hear the word. The Bible says the word is spirit and it's life. That spirit of the word brings life to you and you feel alive again. I want you to think about your spirit is a real thing. And just like you take things from around your house and you put it in your pocket or your wallet or your pocketbook, your spirit, you can also make those deposits in your spirit like that. And a lot of times when we don't see our spirit as a real thing, we're making deposits and withdrawals in our spirit all day long and not understanding what's happening, but we can feel it. We can feel the exchange. We can feel that something was deposited in my spirit, or I'm carrying something that I never carried before, or I feel a certain way. Have you ever, you know, been in a circle with your friends and one of them gets involved in a relationship and they come back to the circle and you can see it on them? You can feel it's like something new is in your life. Something different is going on. Something was deposited in their spirit because they gave their heart away. They gave their heart to something. They opened their heart to something, and you can tell, you can feel it in their spirit, and it affects your spirit. You know, it's noticeable. It wasn't a physical thing, it was an invisible thing, but you can feel it, you can sense it. Your heart is a real thing. That's why when something breaks your heart, you feel it. You can feel it. When your heart, now here's the deal. Tichet said, whatever has your heart has your spirit. She also said, I was taking notes, says, whatever accesses your heart, it changes you. It changes you. So whatever accesses your heart, accesses your spirit. If something breaks your heart, it breaks your spirit. Have you ever seen someone with a broken spirit? Have you ever seen someone, you know, excited about life, positive, always has something incredible to say, and then you see them one day and they're quiet, they're withdrawn, their head is hung down, or they don't have much to say? Something broke their spirit. That's what it looks like when you experience a broken heart, a broken spirit. That person, because I always say, when the heart breaks, something leaks out. If you have a vase and it's full of something, some kind of liquid or whatever, if you break the vase, where do you think that liquid is going to go? Whatever it was in that container is now accessible. It leaks out, and not only does it leak out, something else can get in. I want you to understand that. And if you, what we're saying is, if your heart isn't in it, you're now understanding that your heart and your spirit is everything and it affects everything. Guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. Out of it flows the issues in your relationships, be it business or personal. Out of it flows the decisions that you make concerning your finances. Out of it flows how you handle your family and your children. Out of it flows how you handle or create an environment where you can thrive. Out of it flows your health, how you handle this body, this temple that you live in, this incredible body that we have to live in and as long as we're breathing. So if our heart, our spirit, whatever affects our spirit affects all of that, that should get our attention. We should hold that high. We should hold our heart and our spirit high. We should value it and guard it and protect it as something precious. No, you can't have my spirit. Or yes, I'll give my heart to this. Or no, you can't get in my spirit. You can't access my heart. I'm not going to give you my heart like that. You get to a point, attractive thinker, where you realize your heart is not for sale. It's not up for grabs. Because once something gets in your heart, it has access to everything about you. It's just like the key to your vault. Once somebody gets the key to the vault at the bank, they have access to everything. And it's the same thing with our heart and our spirit. When you walk away from this message today, I want you to put a high price, a high value on your heart and your spirit. Don't allow everything to get in your spirit, because once it gets in your spirit, it gets in you. And what's in you gets access to your money, your relationships, your health, your wealth, your business, your environment. It has free course to run rampant all throughout everything that means anything to you. So now you have to assess, and you look and say, wait. This is my heart here. I'm very mindful of who I give my heart to, or what I give my heart to, or what I allow access into all of me, what I give access into my spirit. We have to be mindful of some of the things you mentioned, Tichet, and it caused me to write things down, like when you connect with another spirit, it changes you. When you give your heart to someone, it changes you. Your friends notice it, the spirit, and then you mentioned connectivity. If your spirit is what you use to connect to God, or your higher power, or your source, or whatever you call that thing that's bigger than you, if your spirit and your heart is what you use to connect to God, why would we so freely give any and everybody and anything access to our spirit? You can't have access to my spirit. It's just like giving somebody the key to your front door of your house, and they can come and go whenever they want. We don't do that to our house. You don't give everybody the key to your car. You don't give people the key to your safe deposit box at the bank. So I'm showing you these things of value so you can place your heart and your spirit on the same frequency as those things, because your heart and spirit is more valuable than any physical thing that you can put value on. Your heart and your spirit, whoever has access, or whatever has access to your heart and your spirit, has access to, has the key to the outcomes in your life. It has access to and keys to the decisions that you make. Now your decisions are influenced by somebody else or something else that has access to your heart. Tichet, talk to us about why it's important to guard our heart, and not just why, but how do we do that?
Absolutely. Before we talk about guarding your heart, we need to take a step back so we can understand why. Because you said some key things. You said we give access. And the reason why we give access to our heart is because we don't understand that the heart is the gift, that we don't understand why we are supposed to protect it. And the reason why we do that is because we put, like you said, we put more value on things of the external or things that we see, and we don't place value on the things that we don't, even though our whole life is carried in our heart. So when you see our heart break, you feel like we break. But you said, Dr. Toni, that when our heart breaks, something comes out of it. And what comes out of it is you. What's exposed in the middle of your heartbreak is you. Because if you have the courage to keep going, or the courage to get back up again, you don't get back up the same. You come back stronger than you were. You have gained a little wisdom, a little knowledge along the way, if you decide to receive the wisdom and the knowledge. I don't want to keep going through the same lessons over and over again. So when my heart breaks, I tend to look at why, what's going on, what was I supposed to learn? Because I don't want my heart to break for no reason. I don't want to have pain just to be in vain. My pain, I do not want it to be in vain. So when we talk about giving away the access, you said we don't just give away our car keys and our house keys, because when we look at our house keys, we look at that being the entrance to everything that we own externally. But we don't look at the heart as everything we own, access to everything we own internally. So we tend to leave our heart open, wear it on our sleeves, and allow any and everybody to come access it. But when they access your heart, they are accessing your gifts. Like you said, they're accessing your spirit. They're accessing everything that makes you, they're accessing the core of your decisions. So when you come upon people who you have willingly gave all of your heart, whether they were trusted or not, whether they deserved it or not, you have given them access to the base of all that is in you. Next thing you know, you allow them to come in and just make some sort of mess, and then all of a sudden your decisions will resemble that mess. So then you start building a life. This is how you build a life on the wrong building. You're crawling up, you're going up this ladder, Your intentions are good, but you're going up the wrong ladder when you're going up a ladder that's not designed for you. Your heart might not beat like everybody else's. Your heart might not be shaped like everybody else's. Your heart has your dreams in it, your goals, your reason why. Your heart has your core belief system in it. Your heart has your decisions in it. So when you allow somebody to have access to your heart, you are really, truly allowing them access to everything that makes you you. And then you start building a life not knowing that they tainted it, not knowing that they just came in and made a mess of it. They did it so subtly, you didn't even know that they put something in this corner over there and allow it to end up becoming infectious. You didn't know. You didn't know that they done placed something somewhere that allowed it to explode later, that they done planted weeds in your garden and now your garden is choked. You didn't know. So the reason why is because we don't understand the gift that is the heart. We don't understand that it is our heart that is the most precious thing in life, because it's our spirit. We have to protect that more than we protect our home. A lot of people will go and get alarm systems to protect the house, and will put out their sign to let people know, hey, you can't break in here, we got security. But do you have that same security over your heart? Do you have that same alarm system over your heart? When someone comes in and they intrude, do you have an alarm system? You have to make it a habit to, when people come in and out of your life, you make it a habit to understand whether they have the code or not. So that's one thing, Dr. Toni, that we can do to protect the heart. You can make sure that they have the code, and the code will be in the language you put it in. So if you have somebody that's used to speaking in negative language, they do not have your code because you don't speak negativity. That doesn't mean you don't have bad days and you don't think low thoughts some days. That just means that that's not your core. Low vibrational thoughts is not your core belief. That is not your primary language. Remember, we talked about having two languages, positive, negative, being bilingual. Right? We're not saying English, Spanish, and French and all that. We're saying positive or negative, low vibrational or high vibrational, right? So when someone speaks your language, That's the first step to understanding whether or not they are worthy of the code to your security system. You give who you put close to your heart the code. You give family codes to your house or keys to your house. You go and you might give it to this person because you trust them with your house. But you can't go and give them access to your heart if you don't trust them with your heart. And my thing is, if you can't trust them with your house, why can't you trust them with your heart? The heart is the gift. I said to somebody this weekend, I said, if your house caught fire and you had to grab one thing running out of that house, what would you grab? So they thought about it a little bit. They went through certain things in their house and said, if my house caught fire, I have 1 second to grab something. What am I grabbing? So my thing is this, what will you grab? So why would you grab that? And if you'll grab that, is that something you're gonna go and leave it on a step? Is it something you're gonna go and lend it to everybody who says, I need to borrow your spirit. I need to borrow, I need to give, could you give me? Do you have an extra heart to spare? Are you gonna give it to them? Now there's some people you give your gift to. There's some people you give your spirit to. There's some people you are designed to help, but you are not here to help everybody. You are not here to help those that don't want to be helped. I'm telling you, even Jesus will ask people, do you believe that you can have this? Do you believe that I can do this? Before I go pouring out all my gifts on you, do you first believe? What is the belief of the person you are trusting with your heart? You know, and then you go and you say, oh, well, I want to give and I want to give. And if you're giving out of your heart, you're not giving with sorrow, because you understand the difference with giving out of your heart is that you know that spiritually there's an investment, because everything you sow, you also reap. If you're giving and you're not giving out of your heart, you are spending it. So if you're giving away your energy and your heart is not in it, that is not an investment. You spent your energy, you're not giving that back. You're not getting that back. If you give out of your heart, then when you're giving, it also gives back into you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It also gives everything back to you, you sowed. So when you're giving out of your heart, you're not spent at the end of the day. You're not completely drained at the end of the day and got to try to figure out how to get yourself back after it. So we have to understand that our heart is our gift. It's our currency. So if you look closely, the way you spend your money is a lot of times the way you might spend your time and the way you might spend your energy. And it's the way you allow your spirit to just climb out. Because these are your currency. This is your heart is your treasure. It says where your treasure is, there's your heart also. So your treasure is your heart. So would you go out there and just spend your treasure on anything? Do you make it a habit of going out here and spending your money, your time, your energy, and now your heart on trash? Are you gonna go out and buy something that you can't even put in your house, that you can't even put in your life? Are you gonna go out here and waste it because it didn't mean anything to you? So when we look at how we spend our time and how we spend our money, we can look at how we spend our energy. But here's the thing: when you understand this and you allow yourself to have good time management, good money management, guess what comes with that? Good energy management. And when you have good energy, you have more time to take care of your spirit. So when you are misspending your time, how will you have time to learn how to build your heart? So if you're not building your heart and you're not protecting it, you're not learning what it needs, what it don't need, what it attracts to, what it resonates with. You're not taking the time to learn it because you're so busy out here spending everything. How will you know? So we have to, in order for us to protect our heart, It's going to take us to be under new management. It's 2021. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our last episode. So in this year, make an effort to protect your gifts. That is your spirit, your heart, the person that you are, your most valuable treasure. Why? Because we understand that that's who we are. We are the gift. We are the gift. So that thing you grab to run out of the house is yourself. So if you're going to run out of the house with yourself, don't go out here and just give it away to people who ain't going to value it or treasure it. Give it to the people who know how to multiply. Give it to the people that when you share an idea, they can come back and say, why don't you try this? Give it to somebody who's going to be honest. We call it constructive criticism. You don't give it to haters because haters ain't going to do nothing but throw it in the trash anyway. You give it to the people that can look at what you got. You say, listen, I have this and I have this. What do you think? And they say, they're not going to just say, oh, yeah, that's good. If it's not, they're going to say, have you tried this, that, and the other? If you take this and put it over here, then maybe you can bring in an abundance that way. Constructive criticism. When you give out of your heart, it should come back. If it's not coming back, you spent it. Stop spending it. And then here we go. Some people might say, oh, well, I hoard it or I save it. I save it. And saving is good, right? If you understand saving. But when you understand that you start hoarding and hoarding and hoarding, so it's not getting used at all, your spirit, your heart is not being used at all. You spend all your time hiding your wisdom, hiding your gifts, hiding the things that you have learned. You spend all that time hiding your heart. We end up becoming spiritually overweight and spiritually unhealthy because it's supposed to be a cycle. You give, you receive, you give, you receive, you learn, you teach, you learn, you teach. It's supposed to be a cycle. So whenever something happens, and this is why we also supposed to give out of our heart, make sure we're giving out of 100% because you want to get back what you're putting out. If you don't want to give that back and you don't want to receive it, you don't want to put that out. So don't put nothing out halfway that you don't want. Don't put out any energy that you don't want to receive back. Don't put out give nobody any medicine you're not willing to give. So you do unto others as you will have them do unto you. The reason why is because what you give, you receive. When you understand the gift, you're careful how you give it. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Fantastic and amazing. Attractive thinker, I want you to understand something here. There are two ways to break your heart. Do you know that you can break your own heart? And life can break your heart. You can break your own heart by continuing to say yes instead of saying no. I want you to think about that. When you say yes, yes is the key to your heart. When you say yes, then you give access. The door to your heart opens. And whatever you say yes to, you allow it, you let it in, it steps in. So it's possible to keep breaking our own heart when we keep saying yes to dysfunction. And then we go off to the side and we cry about it. And then we get an apology or we get this this hope for change, that thing or that person is going to change, and then they do it again, and then we go back off into the corner and we cry because we said yes again. When you say yes, you give that thing or that person access to your heart. And Tichet, we talk about this a lot. You have to make people qualify to have access to something so valuable about you. To have access to your heart, to have access to your spirit. Your spirit is where your life force is. We have to make people qualified to have access to something so precious. Your heart, your spirit. And we can break our own hearts by not owning our value, by not valuing who we are, by not seeing us as value, seeing yourself as a treasure. When you don't see yourself as a treasure, you allow anything access to you. Oh, yeah, sure, you can come over. Oh, yeah, sure, you can come in. Oh, yeah, sure, you can have that. Oh, I'll give you that. Oh, yes, sure, I'll show up. Sure, I'll do it. And you're letting the whole neighborhood into your spirit, the whole community into your spirit, and wondering why you don't feel like your ideas are yours anymore, or wondering why you don't feel like, yourself anymore. You can't find you anymore because you allowed the whole neighborhood into your spirit. And now they're pushing all of your buttons and pulling your strings because they have access to your desires and your dreams and your goals and the decisions that you desire to make for your life, your future. Where are you going with your life? They have access to all of that. None of your decisions are yours anymore. So you can break your own heart, or life has the tendency to break our heart as well. Now, this is a big one right here because I've experienced this myself. Life breaking your heart. And when life breaks your heart, I want you to understand something, that it's not so much the heartbreak as it is what life is trying to get to you. The life on the other side of the break, life beyond the break. This is why we exist. Beyond the break, this is why we exist. To show you what life is like beyond a break. Now, life doesn't come after things that don't have your heart. If it came after your car, that's cool. That's not your heart. You can get a new car. You can get that fixed, right? But if it comes after, like Tichet said, if the house is on fire, what is it that you would grab first? That's where your heart is. And where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. I want you to understand that. So in your attractive thinker notebook, next to, simultaneously, when you hear heart, next to heart, I want you to put spirit, and then, heart slash spirit slash treasure. All of them mean the same thing. So now you have to highly esteem these things. You have to guard them and protect them and put them under lock and key, and not allow everybody access to your heart, your spirit, and your treasure. A lot of people, places, and things aren't even worthy of it. They're not even worthy of it, to have access to that kind of depth in you, that kind of value in you, the essence of you, the life of you, the everything about you. How many people is worthy of having access to that? You don't encounter those people every single day that qualify to have that kind of access to your life. So you have to guard your heart. Now, when life breaks your heart, something seeps out. But also, as an attractive thinker, when life breaks your heart, we go through the normal things that any human being will go through. It hurts. We're not negating that at all. But over time, as an attractive thinker, you rise above the pain and you start searching for the purpose. You start searching for life beyond the break. You start searching for what that break meant and what you were supposed to get from that break. You start looking at yourself and you realize you're stronger, you're taller in stature, you have more clarity. You hear people say it all of the time. You've listened to so many stories where people have experienced some really horrific experiences, and then they have this incredible story that they tell as a result of it. The blessings and the lessons and the gems that they've pulled from this heartbreak is just phenomenal. You've heard that. So all of that is accessible to us, to everyone who experiences a heartbreak. But it's only available to those who seek, that are going to find. You're only going to find that treasure if you're seeking. When you understand the value of your heart, anything, you also understand that anything that affects your heart, there's something in it that you're supposed to be looking for. There's something in it that's going to give you a return, because your heart is your treasure. It's very valuable. Nothing can affect your heart and you not expect to get some kind of return, a lesson, a blessing, some purpose, some clarity and elevation, something, attractive thinker. The only way you don't expect something is that you never saw your heart as value. You never saw. People don't break into banks to steal something that does not have value. They do not do that. Anytime something is broken into or something breaks, understand that it has value. It has value. You have value, attractive thinker. And if you've experienced a heartbreak in your life, on the other side of that heartbreak is treasure and abundance for you. But you have to see your heart as valuable in order to say, wait a minute, something broke my heart. Let me go track my value. Let me go see where my value went. Let me find out why something attacked my value. Let me go and see what I can do about this, or where's the blessing or the lesson, or where did the value go? Did I elevate in my spirit? Am I stronger? Am I more clear? Did some doors open for me? Because nothing can go in and take your treasure without it accessing some value, and without you having to seek the value. Think about it. If somebody broke into your house and stole something of value to you, you would call the police and you would want it back. You would want it back. You would send out a report, and you would want them to track it, and you would want them to find it, and you would want them to give it back. So you only do that because it had value. It meant something to you. So if your heart breaks, everything in your heart means something to you. So you don't just let your heart break and then you just go around crying and go around broken. No, 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 no. Assess your treasure. Find out what happened. Pull from this experience all that you can get from it, all of the little details, because every detail matters. I always say, when your heart breaks, don't just pay attention to the pain and the heartbreak, and don't just pay attention to the breaking, but get some clarity on what actually broke. Think about it. It's one thing for somebody to enter into your house where all of your treasure is. We know that they broke in, but what did they take? That's one of the first things the police officer asks you when somebody breaks into your house. Do you look around? Is anything missing? What is different? What did they take? So what they took is an indication. It guides the investigation. When you look at what they took, now some things have meaning. Now you have a path on where you say, okay, they took my laptop. Okay, what was on your laptop? So you can go deeper now. But if you don't focus on what was taken, if you're so engrossed in the fact that they broke into your house, or you're so engrossed in the pain and you're not looking at what they took, you can't find the blessing or the lesson, or you won't discover your purpose, or you won't discover what was really valuable in your life, because nobody breaks in and steals something that has no value. Most of the time when your heart breaks, the value that's exposed, you didn't even look at it as valuable. But when your heart breaks, the perception shifts, the clarity comes in, the priorities get swapped. What was important is no longer important. What wasn't important is now important. Some things get switched around, and now you get to assess. You get to assess life beyond the break. There's a lot of meat in there for you, attractive thinker. This message is incredible. And even though we're about to end this message, it will no longer end in you. This message is setting you on a path to search, to pay attention, to extract the lesson and the blessing, because your heart is valuable. And it does mean something. It does matter that your heart is broken. We do care that your heart broke, but what actually broke when your heart broke, that's up to you to discover, because that's where your real treasure is. And I promise you, because me and Tichet have both experienced heartbreak, multiple heartbreaks in several areas. The attractive thinker wouldn't even exist had not my heart been broken. When my heart broke, the attractive thinker was born. It came out, it leaked out. It was in there. I didn't know it was in there. See, that's another thing. When your heart breaks, it reveals treasure that you didn't even know you had. When Tichet experienced her heartbreak, the visual encourager was born. She didn't even know what a visual encourager was. She didn't even know it existed. It was a heartbreak that revealed the real treasure. Tichet, give us some closing remarks and tell our audience how they can connect with you, the visual encourager.
Yes, you gave so much meat going on in there. The thing about it is, when we understand all of that, listen to this recording over and over and over again until you get it. It is what you believe that makes your experience better. When you get to the core of your belief about you being a gift, and you understand that you need to tend to your heart, that your heart is of value, you will change the way you do things. You'll change the way you see a thing. And like Dr. Toni said, I'm the visual encourager, right? But I wasn't always encouraged. My encouragement came out of me being broken for so long and me having to learn how to encourage myself, me learning how to encourage others in the midst of feeling broken. When you lost who you are, you lost everything, right? So when you can't seem to find your footing and you can't seem to find yourself, search your heart. Search the last place you found it. Search the last known place of happiness. The last time you remember seeing it at its fullness. Start from there. We don't have to keep starting over and over and over and over and over again unless you build a whole life that you don't like. We start from our last known place of happiness. The last thing we've learned, we take all of the treasures and the jewels, and we take it with us and keep building and building and protecting, and then we give out of our heart. And our spirit knows when there's a time to give, because there's a time for everything. So we have learned so many things in the midst of this heartbreak, and I hope and pray that this reaches you well. So I want to let you know you can, if you can't seem to find your place, we have so many tools that we offer, both the attractive thinker and the visual encourager. So you can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com. I provide mental support for movers and shakers, trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers. People who desire to move mountains, but just need the help to release the heaviness so that you can create a new vision for yourself. Find me on my contact us page, enter in your information. Let me know how I can encourage you, enlighten you, and help lift you up so you can live a life out of your heart with fulfillment. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com.
Awesome. Attractive thinkers, I want you to understand, I'm going to drop this last golden nugget. Your heart is your GPS, it's your intuition, it's your discernment, it's your gut feeling. It helps you make decisions in life. Guard your heart, attractive thinker. It is of highest value, and you can start right now today. You don't have to wait. Just start assessing what you're saying yes to that you should say no to, or what you're saying no to that you should say yes to. Your yeses and your nos are the keys. They open and close your door to your heart. I want you to think about that. So your heart is your GPS. If it gives you direction in life, you don't give everybody access to the direction, because once you give them access, they're able to drive your life in whatever direction they want you to go in. Remember that, attractive thinker. Today's message, if your heart isn't in it, if your heart isn't in it, don't do it. If your heart isn't in it, assess that situation. And whatever you do, you want your heart in it, because your heart determines your spirit, your treasure, your outcome, your destination. I want you to think about it. I'm saying these things because I want you to put value on your heart from this day going forward. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your Break the Cycle specialist at theattractivethinker.guru, where we support you with mental tools, mental healing, and mindset maintenance. I want you to visit our website at theattractivethinker.guru. Place your contact information on the homepage and check your email for the next 5 days. I have a video. I'm going to send you one video a day, and it's going to support you in turning your problems into your solutions. You hear us say this all of the time. Our life's work, that's to make your life better. Remember, it is not what you're going through. It's how you're doing it. Think attractively. So we'll see you soon.